It's the Jay and Thomas Podcast, an hour of commentary on today's top stories, current events, or just life in general. And here are your hosts, Jay and Thomas Darden.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Jay and Thomas Podcast. So happy that you're back with us. It is, I believe, episode 22. I'm going to get on to myself later if that is incorrect, which I don't think it is, but we'll have to see. So we're going to start this day off as we do every other one so far and ask the man of the hour how he's doing and how his week's going. And then, of course, how is the weather down in nice and balmy, lovely Ecuador, south of the equator there?
Well, I'm doing good. Life's good. This week's going good. It's hump day, and it's about 73 degrees right now. So
I was going to
life's
say,
good, man.
It's hump day, but you can't date the episode. Like, we have to kind of be, not too.
That's right. I'm sorry.
Coming with our timing, people will start to figure out when we're recording everything. Gotta be all sly and all that. So,
holy crap!
That's something else. Well, hey, here's the deal. If you haven't figured out the sequence of events now, because I'm still trying to keep everybody guessing with releasing videos at different times, but
yeah, there you go.
We should be.
You're doing a good job too.
You got to keep people on their toes. But yeah, we normally record on Wednesdays, and the episode should be out about Thursday evening, if at all possible. So.
No, don't give them that fast of a turnaround. Make them wait.
I was going to say, well, no, you actually did bring up a really good point, which at one of our podcasts, you made mention that. Especially nowadays, the news cycle happens so fast. So if we want to talk about anything that's like current events, air quotes, the news cycle is about 24 hours. So we might be maybe 12 hours behind the ball a little bit or something like that. Maybe something happened on Wednesday or Monday, Tuesday, maybe Sunday over the week. But it's happening, man. Like it's cranking out all the time.
Yep.
And can't stop, won't stop. So we got to get
get busy living or get busy dying. That's goddamn right.
That's pretty wild. So not too crazy structure today, but one thing I did want to ask you, we can start out with this because it might bring up some other topics later or other topics down the line is. I was thinking about this over the weekend and this week, and we had talked a little bit about this before. I don't think on the podcast just yet, but something that you had an inkling into or a thought into at some point in time in your life is. So let me pose this question to you: if you could write a book, what kind of book would it be, and what would the subject matter be? Because I know before there was some time ago when you might have wanted to do like a truck driving for dummies, which would be very interesting. But if you had the opportunity to write something, would it be a how-to book, memoirs? You could be like Robert Tertullian, write like a fiction novel, like a mystery thriller kind of thing. What kind of book would you write, and what would it be about?
Right, yeah, and that's an interesting question. I wrote the first 3 chapters of Truck Driving for Dummies, subtitled "The Things They Don't Teach You in School."
Nice.
And I got out I wrote down the first 3 chapters because it was a day-to-day thing that went on with me all the time. Now that I'm retired and haven't been behind the wheel of a vehicle in 6 months, which that'd be interesting, getting behind the wheel of a vehicle. It would probably be maybe a life story of, I don't know, maybe my life story of how my life progressed and the things I did and went along, the decisions I made, right, wrong, or indifferent.
Sure.
And at the time and why I made them, things like that.
Well, that would be kind of interesting.
Probably be a life book or something.
So it would be almost Like
hopefully
basically.
hopefully it'd be educational, where I could say, don't do this because this is going to happen. I
Well,
guarantee you.
one of the things that we talked about that I thought was pretty cool was every decision that you have made in your life leads you to right now.
Yes,
So
that's correct.
You got to look at it. Would you write that in such a way where it would be almost like a, you know how they have safety manuals and safety guides and stuff like that? You could write it as though if that's what you thought. I mean, don't do this or X will happen. But it doesn't seem as though things happen too poorly. There may be some circumstances or instances where things didn't go exactly according to plan, but that's life, right? The saying is what a plan never survives contact with the enemy, which is one of my favorite sayings of all time. Like that's just how it is. So
Right. Right.
pretty wild. That was kind of like that story I was telling you beforehand about with work, where everything was planned out. It seemed as though it was foolproof, and the second it came into contact with a third party or a third entity, done. So, you can't do a whole lot of winning in life unless it's about perspective, in which you might win all the time. So, what can you do there?
Right.
But that would be pretty cool.
That's all I could think it would be. And it would definitely be entertaining.
Well, I would say that would be up to the reader to decide, right? So
all the way from prison to the strip club to the I'm sorry, never mind. To the...
Wow, yeah. That's it.
Baseball and your birth and we could.
I was going to say, you could call it "Walking in Memphis," the Tom Darden story. So,
I'm glad you said that. I saw a chart today of the cities with the most murders per population capita.
Okay.
In the United States. Okay.
Yay.
Top 10, and Memphis is number 8 on the list of murders in 2021 per 1,000 people, per 100,000 or whatever. That it's number 8 in the nation.
I was going to say it's only
on the list.
September, so they still got 3 more months to become number 1. So come on, Memphis.
Yes, they're trying to move up the ladder. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Get your butt in gear, man. So you
kill some more people. Yeah,
that's murders. Like it didn't have with what kind of weapons or anything like that, or was it?
No. It had no. All it was 1 through 10. The cities, the amount of the number of murders. The number of murders per 100,000 people population.
That's kind of wild.
That was it on the chart.
I would wonder if they talk about first degree, second degree, third degree homicide, manslaughter, blah blah blah. Like, what are they counting on that chart? Because murder can mean so.
A whole lot of things. Oh, absolutely.
But
absolutely. It didn't have any specifics. It just had dead people.
Wow. So
we don't know how they got dead, but they're dead.
Well, and that's something that, murder might be.
Why is it? If a man kills another man in bad, let's call it heroic. Yet if he kills a man in the heat of passion, it's called murder. Hello.
In 1997, Memphis was number 1. In the world, the murder capital of the world in 1997.
Wait, the world or in the United States?
In the world.
Wow.
In the world, 97. They got the gold medal in the murder Olympics.
In the murder Olympics, that's it.
It's pretty sad.
That's nuts. Well, yes.
Oh shucks, what was his name? James Earl Ray did not kill Martin Luther King.
I thought you were going to say James Earl Jones, who I believe is the voice of Darth Vader. And it's like...
Oh, he's the greatest, man. James Earl Jones.
I did not kill Martin. Said it.
Yeah.
Like, bro, where are you going with this, man?
Yeah. James Earl Ray did not kill Martin Luther King.
According to Bo Burnham's special Inside, go watch it. The FBI killed Martin Luther. It wasn't Mr. Ray.
FBI is the most corrupt organization in the United States, other than the FOP in your local city. Yeah, I said it.
Pretty strong words for someone who's out of the country, yet I am still in said country. So
That's why I'm not coming back.
I am not a crook, you know.
Facial recognition at the airport. There he is.
Yeah. It just blows you up like the
I go into the metal detector where they tell you to raise your hands, and the thing goes woo, 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 woo.
Yeah. Well, what's wild is that the FBI thing that came from, grandfather, right? He was all about, he worked in the FBI, and that's what he said.
Yes, he did.
Out of that stuff all the time, man.
Yep, he told me that, came right out of his mouth, and he was a special investigator for the FBI for a number of years. My father.
Ain't that wild? How in the world did we go from what you said it was Joe and Jack, that was their names, right? Twins.
Correct.
So
correct.
My
Identical
grandfather
twins.
and great uncle, were twins, which would be insane. And one was a jeweler, a very well-to-do jeweler, and another one was in like 3 branches of the military and worked for the FBI. And cut to Tom working at the strip joint, just
That's right.
having a ball. So that is absolutely fantastic.
Yep.
But and Granddad was pretty intelligent when it came to this and that, because didn't you say that he ran for office for a few things, but that was only to really get or get advertisements for his law firm.
Only to advertise. Yes.
Absolutely.
The first thing on his thing, he ran for school board twice. He ran for state representative once, and he ran for sheriff of Shelby County once. And
wow.
He did it all to have campaign contributions pay for his legal work, because first thing on his thing was, I'm a lawyer. Yeah.
Wow.
I beg your pardon. I'm Joe Darden.
Ridiculous. That's what that is. Don't rhyme. Yeah, rhyming is for infants and me.
Well, this was how many years ago? 20 years ago. Maybe he did this 25 years ago. He did this.
Well,
it got to be longer than that, because you're a 30-ish.
Okay, listen. I'm going to need you to calm right the hell down with that, okay? Because your boy ain't getting any younger. All right.
Oh, wait, I was going to say, and you're single, no ex-wife, no children, no baggage.
Yeah.
Ready to go in a minute. Yeah.
Yep, that's me.
I'm putting it out there.
Just have the thumbs up, just come right out of my face.
Yeah, coming right to the camera. It'll hit me in the face.
So, that's true. I'll be 34 this year, and no kids, no wife or ex-wife, no nothing.
I'm fine. Alone out here. No woman. No kids. And no old friends.
Yeah, it's something else, man. My memoir would be, I don't think as entertaining, but I've still got a while to go. And what's insane is that we have so many folks on both sides of the family, really, who live into their 80s, 90s, even hundreds. And
a lot of longevity in the family.
which
Yeah.
to me, I think it's out of spite, like just pure spite. We just keep going to keep pissing as many people off as we possibly can, and we're real good at it. So that's something that can't wait to do when I'm like 130, because that'll be the new 80.
And and your grandmother at 92 is still pissing your Uncle Bob off to the
baby.
max. I mean, his head's about to explode every time he goes to visit.
Well, once you hit a certain age,
That's not funny, Tom.
you see some hands come over from the side and start, it's Bob over there wringing your neck.
Yeah.
But once you hit a certain age, I mean, what is there left to do? Like when you hit 90 and you're not driving, you're cognizant, but a lot of your faculties have gone, right? So, I mean, that's all I would do, especially knowing I'll have just enough brain power to, really get on people's nerves. That's it. And that's all we're going to do. So
There you go.
ain't mad at you. But yeah, good luck, Mar. 92 years old. So we need to set her up a YouTube account. She'll be subscriber number 24.
There you go. I like that.
Yeah, segueing into smash the like button. Comment down below. How old do you think you're going to live?
Smash the like button.
Yeah,
I don't want to be 90. I don't want to be 80, man.
I was gonna say you're getting real close to like your current age. You're like,
I know it's like
tomorrow, and it's like, wait, what?
I don't want to see 70. Hey, wait a minute, man. You're 66
like,
or 67. You're
Yeah.
67. You'll be 68. Yeah. What are you going to? 2 more years? You're out.
That's
If I can I please have my time card?
yeah, punch.
Yeah.
You just put your head through a guillotine. It's like
As you get older, you don't put your time card in the machine like this. You slide it in like this because you're not up and down. You're down like this. So you slide
you're
your time.
horizontal. That's it.
Yeah, and hit the button. Yeah, there you go.
That's it. That's exactly right. So, pretty wild. The places that still do time cards, right? I remember.
Oh yeah.
I worked at H.G. Hills a while back. For some reason, me and grocery stores go way back. Very first job ever was at a Kroger's, and that was pretty interesting. One of the things that they did, we had a time card system where you would use your thumb, which was awesome. And then they started doing that with checks, where for a short amount of time, I don't think they still do it, but instead of isometric technology that they had now, where it would read your face and like and it knows who you are, like with your iPad that you have. I'm not sure if yours does it, but I know the Pros, it's got like a little camera on it, and it just reads your face, like my phone or like several people's phones. It just reads your face, and it questions who you are if you gain too much weight, and it's like, who the heck are you?
Your face is a little rounder.
Yeah, a little more spherical. And that's what they had us do over at Kroger's. But then I worked at H.G. Hills in Gallatin after that. And we still had like the old time legit, like looked like a Scantron that was, tan color, manila color, and go, and there was a big crunch, and it was like, don't stick your fingers in there, man. It'll just cut it off, dude. So the juxtaposition of one store versus another was just kind of incredible to me. Where one takes your picture, reads your thumbprint, and yada yada, and the other one, you're still like doing the old timey. Almost 1950s crunch, and then they got the calculator in the back with the that machine spitting out tape and all that.
Okay. You've got 17.5% in T-bills amortized over the fiscal year.
I don't know the technology.
I'll do your taxes, but you're going to jail.
yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah. I'll do your taxes for us. Speaking of doing your taxes, going to jail, like in comedians and stuff like that, I saw another guy who was disabled, or air quotes disabled. I mean, he was doing great, And I saw this online, and it was amazing. The guy had to be a plant because it was just so perfect. But the guy had either cerebral palsy or muscular dystrophy, right?
Okay.
And he starts laughing, and the guy in the front, who's just kind of chilling, he's like, yeah, I got disabilities and stuff like that. Of course, I can't show it because YouTube's going to figure out what's happening. So I'll
Right.
paraphrase poorly. And, the guy's out there, and he's like, yeah, I have this. And, you guys seem to be big fans of that. Well, this one guy in the crowd didn't laugh, or didn't laugh very much. And he kind of picks on this guy. He's like, hey, man, are you more like a muscular dystrophy guy? Are you more of an MS guy or whatever? And the guy laughs, and he's like, what is your preferred disability? And the guy, he picks up sticks for the blind, his walking stick. And the crowd just loses their minds. And because the dude's like, how in the world did I pick, the only blind man in here when talking about disabilities? And it was great, man. Like it was good stuff. Because the girl was nudging him, like his girlfriend or wife or whatever was nudging him to let him know he's being communicated with, because they're wondering how is he looking at him, and
Right.
how does he know he's talking to him? Oh man, it was fantastic. Like really good stuff. So, I forget the name of the guy who we watched, but that dude was hysterical. Where he's like, I tried to call a cab and I caught a pigeon.
Yeah, that was Josh Blue.
Josh Blue.
Josh Blue, and he's on Dry Bar Comedy. It's a clean clean comedy set.
Fantastic, man. Yeah, we got a midget coming out next. It's like, if you're a midget here, be prepared because you're gonna be juggled. Like it just blows my mind, man.
Oh yeah.
But that stuff was real good. So pretty funny stuff there. I really wish, we could cut into some comedy things. I was actually surprised we didn't get a monetization hit or anything like that for the Dave Chappelle thing last time, but I think I kept it, short and sweet, and it wasn't too crazy. And but yeah, how'd you like his spiel?
You be careful. I like that. I like that.
So yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting, and we cut it at the right times and whatnot. So as long as you put in just very tiny little snippets, because if you keep it too long, the YouTube brings out the cat of nine tails and strips your flesh off your bones and all that. So we gotta yeah. So you gotta be mindful for sure, but pretty wild. Yeah, the YouTube overlords. So I am getting the that's a segue, folks. I am getting the new iPhone, which is going to be hopefully awesome. And so you all might see, I don't know how well it's going to show through when I actually get it, but it supposedly does have like a film-esque type camera, like if you were going to do like a.
And we're back. We're back after that break.
Yeah, commercial break indeed, my friend. It's absolutely outrageous. All the problems of a major theme park and a major zoo at the same time. So
there you go.
That's about how that goes. But yep, as you all will see, that the camera quality is on my side slightly gone down, and of course that's exactly what was supposed to happen after I talked about a big game of the new iPhone. So that's
the new phone and the new camera and all that. Zoom. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
Click, boom.
Yes, indeed.
Boom.
So that's kind of wild. It's humorous. At least to me, on the fantasy football league that I'm in third place right now, which is kind of interesting. And it's my first time. And I'm one of 3 people out of the 14 who's 3-0. Which is kind of cool, but it's just more like, oh, it is what it is.
New guy.
It's
new guy.
Yeah, the whole, I definitely have like the new guy or the beginner's luck kind of energy.
Rookie.
But the thing that's wild is it all just seems so random. It's like a throw of the dice just almost every time. And some people have off weeks and on weeks and stuff like that, and it's just just like with Matt Damon talking, it was like some people can't handle the swings, with when you're playing Texas Hold'em and whatnot. So that'll be kind of wild. When you said people are going to do dealer's choice the next time you all do poker, it'll be interesting to see if it's going to be like 5 card, 7 card stud, if they're going to do Omaha, if they're going to do Texas Hold'em, except like no limit,
Right.
stuff like that, limit,
Right.
et cetera, et cetera. So you'll have to rewatch Rounders a few times to get back into that groove. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Because I don't know. I don't play that. That's not my game. So it's all new to me. We watched several, Texas Hold'em videos to see the basic, how it worked before
Right.
we went the first time. So,
you got to figure out that your 2 cards and the 5 cards on the table, you got to make the best hand. So
yes.
that or bluff your way into victory.
Yeah,
It's-
but when you lay 2 cards down and some guy's going, I'm all in, it's like, wait a minute, dude, there's no more cards on the table yet. Everybody's just got 2 cards and you're all in. So the game wasn't fun.
Well, it can be like that sometimes because some people might have, ace, king, or queen suited or something like that.
Pair of aces. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
You're just statistically not going to beat my hand.
Right.
Now,
Right.
there's always chances for people to, muck up and everything and whatnot, or get lucky on the flop or the river or the turn or whatever. And it's just sometimes you'll hit it and sometimes you won't. So
Right.
it just is.
You're
what
right.
it is. But it'd be kind of cool. We got some firewood and some fire starter for this Friday. Having some people over, that should be kind of fun. Try to obey all of the proverbial rules of lighting a fire and getting somewhat inebriated around said fire and try not to fall in. So
There you go.
We'll see what we can
There
do
you
with
go.
that. Sadly,
The fire pit.
Miss Carr just closed her pool up, so there'll be no more shenanigans with that.
Oh, shucks.
Like it just happened this
Yeah.
week. Because, there was something pretty fun about it being, like, I don't know, 1 in the evening or something like that. And then going out and taking a quick little dip. So,
Invigorating, huh?
oh man, it'll get you going. That's for sure. It's kind of like the thing that we used to do at the Civic Center where we'd hop out of the whirlpool and into the pool, and it's like it's gonna take blood to places you didn't know existed. So
Yes, sir.
all that
Yeah.
blood's constricting, and then it just is like bam. So but you said at some point in time they had to change the temperatures up of the pool and of the like hot tub or saunas and stuff like that, because that's what people were doing, right? They were
Yeah.
doing the extreme versions of whatever it was, where they'd hop out of something really hot and then just dive into something really cold, and then you can get cramps. You can, in extremes, have like a heart attack because your body.
Yeah, they had a couple of people. French Riviera Spa in Memphis when I was there had 2. I guess you call them whirlpools beside each other, and one was the hot whirlpool, and then the other one was the cold whirlpool. And people would get out of the hot, they'd get in the hot and get all loose and all that kind of stuff after working out, and get out and take 10 steps and get in the cold.
Oh wow!
And it was a huge shock to your body. I mean, a huge shock. And several people,
Yeah,
see,
right.
so they had to. I don't know if they raised the temperature of the cold or lowered the temperature of the hot, or they didn't have them offset as much. One being 100 degrees, the other one's being
Right.
50 or something. That
Yeah.
kind of drop in the temperature. But it was significant until they changed it.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, sir.
I don't know
Yeah.
that when we went to, or when I was down in Ecuador, I think the second time, and we stayed at the Grand, and they just straight up were like trying to cook you in the
Steam
in the
room.
sauna, man. I mean,
Yeah.
good Lord, that was cooking. I mean, oppressive kind of cooking sort of thing, man. Because goodness gracious, dude. Just
That's why they gave you 2 coupons to the buffet and 2 drinks in the Thirsty Turtle, so you could
Yeah, man.
you could recover. Eat something, my friend, and drink something.
Yeah, wow. Good Lord, dude. That was just something else. But
After we've subjugated your body.
yeah, after we just like beat you to death with that silliness. But yeah, man, kind of wild there for sure. But yeah, I don't know. It's pretty crazy. This week's kind of going right by. We're moving and grooving. We're getting into fall, which means you all are going to get into summer, right, or spring?
That's correct. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, they're getting all jacked up on the beach. Everybody's getting their flowers all.
Oh yeah.
They're doing the trimming and the landscaping, and the cabanas are getting the remodels and getting everything fixed up, getting ready for the summer season. Yeah, the beaches. Nice. I mean, the beach was crowded today. We went to the grocery store.
Okay.
And when you come out of the grocery store and you make a left or a right, either one, you're on the beach road. It runs along the front of the beach, and then till you turn back to go to the main highway. And there was a lot of people on the beach. And it was 11:30, I guess, this morning.
That's not
11:30, 11:45. Yeah, it's probably 12:30. But it was funny. I got pulled over today by the transit police, the transit thugs, by a guy on a bicycle. So I'm going down the main. This is the Main Street, and it's crowded. I mean, it's really crowded. You've been here. It's crowded. It's bumper to bumper, and he's coming this way on a bicycle.
Right.
Because these guys, they ride bicycles, they ride scooters, they ride like 1958 Cushman scooters, and then they ride motorcycles, and they also ride pickup trucks. They're the Transio police, and they're the most corrupt organization. They're the shit you see on the movies of corruption. But anyway,
oh wow. Okay.
So he's coming this way, and I'm going this way, and Pat's in front of me, and I look up. She goes through, the light's green. I look up, it flips to yellow, and I'm probably 12 feet behind her. Mm-hmm. So I go on through. And so he's riding, and he points up at the light like that. And so I pointed up, and I shook my head yes, and I saw it was yellow. And so he told me to pull over. So I pulled over, and then he turns in front of somebody on his bicycle, and he stops, and he's right here beside me. So I stop, and I'm sitting there. And so he looks at me, and I look at him, and he starts saying, and I said, English. I speak English. And so then another guy pulls up on a bicycle, and he says something to the other guy on the bicycle, and the guy says something to me, and I said, I speak English. And then another guy comes walking up, and I'm thinking, so I hollered at Pat to stop when he told me to pull over. So she's 6 feet from me, and I'm thinking, these thugs, they're not going to get me, man. The light was yellow. And so he said something about license or cedula or whatever. So I reach in, and you've seen my wallet.
Yeah.
You've seen my wallet, and I'm going to have to make a change because my wallet, I have my cedula, and then I have my store ID card where you go to the grocery store, you get a discount. If you're over a certain age, you get a discount, and they give you a card, looks like a credit card, and they swipe you. The first thing they do is they swipe it when you go up to the cash register. And are we having technical difficulties, everybody? So the next thing behind it is my debit card, and the next thing behind it's my driver's license, my United States driver's license. Well, if you flip it over, there's a money clip made to that wallet, and that's where my money is. And I've got like $65 in my wallet. And so I'm thinking, oh, hell no, these guys, because I made that mistake one other time, which I pull my wallet out of my pocket, and I'm trying to get my cedula out, or my copy of my passport I had in there. And this guy's seeing that there's money in the wallet, and he's waiting. His mouth starts foaming. And I'm thinking, no, hell no. So I reached in there and thumbed my cedula out, because it's the first thing. And I pulled it out of my wallet, and I held it up like this to him. And the two guys looked at it. One guy said Electrica, and I said C. And so he goes, yeah, blah, 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 blah. You know, I guess he thought he was going to do something, but it's electric.
Wow. Okay.
So I don't have to have a license.
Mm-hmm.
Showing my cedula, you don't get nothing else. You don't get to see nothing else.
You don't get nothing else. You know?
Yeah, you don't get a nothing else. Yeah, you ain't getting no license. You ain't getting no passport. Everybody's told me if they stop you, show them your cedula and don't show them nothing else because they don't need anything else, especially if it's electric. Now we're doing 10 miles an hour, man. It's not like we're racing through the city. We're doing 10.
Right.
If that. Yeah, because this cat's riding a bicycle and through the city. So I mean, what the hell, man? And I'm not going much faster than the bicycle, but still. So they go, oh, bro, vamoose, get the fuck out. And I'm like, these thugs, man. So anyway, that's another encounter for the Ecuadorian story of the transit police. I'm not giving them, but I got to figure out what I can do. Got to figure out where to put my money different because I can't pull my wallet out and have money in it. And these guys see, because they're like 80% corrupt.
Right.
And their commander had a meeting and I found this yesterday afternoon talking to Lori, who's from Canada.
Okay.
At the Canadian Embassy, in Ecuador, the commander of the transportation police had a seminar talking to the Canadians that were moving here or had moved here or lived here and told them about the corruption in his department.
Oh my, okay.
And said, if you ever feel threatened, dial 911 and the real police will come. Because the real police hate these guys because they're so crooked and they're so corrupt.
Why are they allowed to continue to function then?
It's their country, man. I don't ask no questions. Gee, I just go right down the road. That's why I haven't already bought a vehicle, because with a vehicle comes a whole lot more bullshit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You got to have it inspected, their inspection.
Yeah. Right.
Then you got to get buy a sticker that they stick in the window with the year saying that it's been inspected. And then you got to have your registration for your license plate. You got to get a license plate. If they stop you, you got to have an Ecuadorian driver's license. I'm guessing you got to have one. Now, I've had 10 people give me 10 different stories of how they drove on their California license plate or drove on their New York license. I mean, their driver's license, operator license.
Okay.
I drove on my California operator license for 6 months and nobody said shit. Well, be my luck, the first time they stop me and I show them a Tennessee license, the guy puts me under arrest, just because I'm from Tennessee.
He might just beat you to death because you're from Tennessee.
Yeah. Damn hillbilly guy, yeah. We'll get him. Yeah. So,
because at that point he might assume that you don't have any money, and you don't know.
Yeah, because I would, if I had a vehicle, I wouldn't have a nice one. I'd have an old, just the crappiest one that ran that I could find. Just because it's obvious. We found through our encounters down here, if you have an accident, there's no insurance.
Yeah.
So if I'm riding down the road on my scooter and a guy turns left in front of me and I hit him, I'm screwed. I'm screwed. There's no there's no insurance down here. There's no insurance company for the vehicle. There's no such thing exist. So
what a
place
that must be.
I don't have insurance on my scooter. He ain't got insurance on his car. And it's going to be like, oh, well, sorry. Tough shit. And then whatever medical bills you incur. Now, I do have the IESS, which is the insurance here, it's like Medicare for South Americans. I do have that here, but my coverage hasn't kicked in.
Yeah, because
you got to wait
you
you got to sign up, and then 90 days later you can use it. But when you do use it, there's no expense involved in anything. Lori had a hip replacement, and she said out of pocket, a complete hip replacement out of pocket, she said, was about $50.
Wow.
Yeah, with that insurance.
I was gonna say, if they put a dog bone in you, or a piece of trash off the ground, then it's probably not going to be too much money, So
Right. Well, they replaced her hip, and she climbed up on a ladder and then fell off and dislocated it, knocked it out of the socket or something. Had to have it re-repaired. So,
wow.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. So,
Well, that's
but
just
that's one of the things about living here. I mean, you don't have that expense. I mean, car insurance, $100, 150, 200 a month for some people. We don't have that expense. You don't have it. Motorcycle insurance, don't have it. They don't have it down here.
well, I
So
mean, that is like it's understandable for not having it for like the vehicle repair, but then again, understand this: if you ever get in a wreck, well, okay, you're in a wreck, and that's it. You got to pay for it
that's it.
yourself, and
Yeah, you're right.
there
You're
you
right.
go.
So you better be real damn careful. Yeah.
That yeah, or take the
Yeah.
bus or a taxi or just take public
Yeah.
transport everywhere, because
That's why if I bought a vehicle, I'd just buy an old piece of junk just to get around
sure.
and just to put some groceries in the trunk or something. But I don't see it in my future. Not the way these. There was just a random. There was two real police in a pickup truck that were just randomly stopping motorcycles when we went into
Yeah.
town today. They were on an open part of the highway, and you've been down here. The highway's like 31. It's like
Right.
Gallatin Road. It's like 31. It's 2 lanes,
Yeah.
and it
Goes.
goes, and people drive out of their fucking minds all the time. Just like
they are.
just like between Westmoreland
Mm-hmm.
and Nashville. Down through Gallatin, they drive like they're out of their fucking mind. Well, this is the same way. They drive on that 2-lane highway, same way, passing each other. You've been here,
Right.
seen it. These guys just pulled over the side of the road and got out and started randomly stopping motorcycles. Luckily, going the other direction. They were going this way. But it was 2 real policemen that were stopping people and checking. And they said they checked people because they stopped me one day and they made me get off my bike and raise my seat up, and they rummaged under my seat. Well, there's nothing under my seat, but a shoehorn and a hairbrush. That's to jack my bike up in case it needs to, and then smooth it out. So,
Wow.
but
I was going to say,
yeah,
what an experience that must be for them to open your little thing and it's just a shoehorn and a brush. And like,
I thought he was looking for a motor, but they said he's looking for drugs or guns.
Yeah, sure.
Traveling from Playas to Pasortas, because Pasortas has
yeah.
turned into a hot spot for criminal activity at the port.
Okay.
At the port, yeah. So, yeah.
Oh, well,
So-
wherever you can move things, you're going to have corruption.
Well, that's what you got going on over there, and I guess they're just randomly stopping people on that highway, going, you can move small amounts of stuff on a motorcycle pretty quick.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
So,
you move pretty
yeah.
fast, and it seems pretty innocuous. And
Because there's a whole bunch of them down here.
oh, yeah.
A whole bunch of bikes down here. So
With one of the greatest things, you could just see him on a little scooter or something, that's the size of like one of those little toy cars or whatever, or a little toy motorcycle or something like that, because it's just like 150 or maybe a 125 or maybe even a 50cc, where it's just bing, it's just barely a frame and 2 wheels and all that. But hey, man, just trying to get around and do their business. So
they're even pulling trailers with those. They pull open air trailers with them. I saw a guy the other day with a motorcycle, like you said, 125, 150, and he was pulling an open air trailer that had the LP gas bottles on it. And he had like a dozen of those LP gas bottles. And I was like, damn, somebody hit that guy, it'd blow his ass to the moon if somebody ran into him. So,
well, and that's something that we talked about before a little bit, where everybody's hustling, everyone's doing their thing.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone's making some money. They're working. They're doing their stuff. So,
and that's what the cops are doing. The cops are hustling too. And I guess it's the end of the month because the city was saturated with them. And with the transit police, and they were on every corner, and they had people pulled over and, on the side of the road and in the middle of the road with bicycles and walking and pickup truck to everything, motorcycles. They had people pulled over everywhere, man. Because it's, I guess, the last couple of days of the month, and they got to pay their rent. So,
well, I mean, that seems like it's the same with kind of any law enforcement, or honestly any business in general, right? If they're doing what they need to and they have quotas, or they have this or they have that, perfect example is our work. We're hitting the end of our fiscal year come October 1, and they got to make the books look as good as we possibly can. So we're hustling, and I mean hustling. And that's just our office. And you know what? Tomorrow is the 30th, so the last day of the fiscal year. And it was funny. Our AP supervisor's like, "Yeah, come tomorrow at noon. It's Margaritaville, man, because it's over. Like we've done all the damage we could. We'll play the little cleanup process near the end of the day, like after noon tomorrow, and just bang, you're ready to go. And then they'll determine profits and determine this and determine that. And I'm sure that police officers or whatever institution you may be in, it's time to make that money. Actually, today on Crowder, they had a pretty. It was either today or yesterday. They had an interesting thing about like regulations, because they were talking about somebody. I think it was Caitlyn Jenner was on The View, and she said, kind of like my body, my choice. Well, it works. That goes two ways. We talked last week a little bit about abortion and whatnot. It's like my body, my choice. Okay, more power to you. Why does the same thing not apply to vaccination? You know what I'm saying? So
Crickets.
yeah. Cue crickets. And it was interesting to me about that, where I thought that was a pretty good point, because here's the cake. You can't eat it too, right? You gotta, it's either all or nothing, and everything, or people will say it's super nuanced. It's like, okay, that's cool. But they talked about regulations, and they brought up the point where seatbelts, one of the reasons why they pushed them so hard was to make money. I mean, just purely to make money. And it was a way for the police, which of course you can take this with a grain of salt or not believe it or whatever. I just thought it was interesting radio. And they, basically like, yeah, they could just straight up charge people money and say, oh, you weren't wearing your seatbelt. Or yes, I was. Well, I couldn't see it. So here's your ticket and blah, blah, blah. And you move on. And it was just kind of wild to think about, that there are certain things where it's not about what's best for the people. It's just about making money, and
right. You're right.
These institutions that you would assume are out there for your betterment or your protection or yada, yada. And they're just not. It's kind of interesting to me,
Who makes money off of all the syringes? The influx in use of syringes for vaccines. Who makes money? Who's making the money off of the influx of usage of masks?
It depends on who's making those products. And the reason why I say that is because we actually had a client around the first part of the pandemic. People were kind of saying like, we got to start making companies who didn't make anything relevant for a very long time ends up starting to make what's called PPE, personal protective equipment or whatever.
Equipment. Yeah.
And hey, this one company started making masks, and they had to import parts to change their systems, their machines up to make masks and make, fold the mask and all this. And it's incredible. So honestly, it's whomever it has like contracts with folks and whomever has the capacity.
Who awards those contracts, and how much of a kickback do they get for me awarding you a contract to be able to use 10 million syringes or 10 million masks? I read today where in North Carolina healthcare system fired 175 people for refusing to take the vaccination. Medical workers.
Right.
Medical workers in a hospital 175
So
people.
the
They
first
fired them.
the first thing or the first part of your question, if I knew stuff about campaign finance and about kickbacks and about lobbying and all that stuff, we wouldn't be doing this. We'd be living on an island somewhere, and having enough money to retire. Me at my
You'd be
age,
somebody's campaign manager, right?
right. So if I knew all about that, I would definitely not tell you and make all the money. One thing that
All right.
is just nuts to me, to that second point, is you're losing out on healthcare workers, but you're deploying the National Guard to take over the spots of people who don't want to get vaccinated. Because I'm pretty sure that's happening in New York. They're actually deploying the Army and saying, hey, they're going to be your healthcare workers because we're going to fire the people who don't want to get vaccinated. And now granted, it is those private institutions' prerogative to not have who they want to work for them, right? So a perfect example of my company, if they wanted to separate me from the company, they have all the prerogative to do it, and I can't really say boo about it. So if they want to act like that, well, that's fine. It's a private business. Now, when you get into government mandates of that sort of thing, and people start getting pitted against one another because they're saying, well, you're making us unsafe and all this, that's where things get a little scurry. Because,
Okay.
you don't want to pit people against each other and say, well, your unvaccinated ass is putting my vaccinated ass into trouble, into jeopardy. And I'm like, what are you talking about?
How do you figure though? If you're vaccinated and I'm not, how are you in jeopardy?
That's my point, right?
Exactly.
So what are you talking about? Because if you're vaccinated, why does me having herd immunity matter? Because you're not going to have a very crazy strain. If I get it, it's on me, and then we move on, right? Now, granted, I am vaccinated, so hey, more power to you. And I've gotten my Pfizer stuff back in April and May, so I mean I'm good to go forever. LOL. And
I need a copy of that card. And, it's funny because we called the. Well, never mind. I'll tell you that another time.
Okie dokie then. Well, to that end, yeah, it's getting to the point now where have you seen the I think it's in Australia, potentially. I think it's Australia, where they have a place that it's either New Zealand or Australia, where they have almost like did you ever see from WW2 where they put like the Japanese or Asian folk in internment camps in the U.S., a very dark part of our history?
Australia has turned into a prison, the whole country.
It didn't turn into one. It's always been one.
Well, it's a bigger prison now because of the unvaccinated, the vaccinated, all that shit, from what I understand.
What's crazy is they have a place where it's like a quarantine zone where they put you if you're going to be quarantined. And it's like a legit internment camp. It looks just like it. And one of the guys on TikTok today that I saw, he's masked up. He's on TikTok. He's sitting out on his porch of these places that look like, it looks like a summer camp. Sorry, I was like, what is that place called? It looks like a summer camp. And he said, yeah, we're kind of like dogs when they, shake the treat bag and they're about to feed us, but we all just sit out here and just wait for it. And that shit just blew my mind. Where they're like, oh, they're putting you in this encampment. You can't leave because you're quarantined in there.
It's all about control.
And I'm thinking to myself, what? It would be different if it's the stories from China where they talked about like literally welding people into their homes right? But it's communist China, right? Like, or it's
Right.
what seems to be a very communist type place. But this is Australia. I mean, and they said in 2024 it's going to be completely finished, and it's like, well, that's not going to help anybody because by that time it's going to be over with, right? But
Right.
something that excuse me, that
They'll
Joe
have a
Rogan
new
said-
they'll have a new variant come out that they can push on you and bullshit you about it too. But it's funny if you fly. Speaking of going into different countries, if you fly into Canada, from what my Canadian friends tell me here, they quarantine you when you get off the airplane in a hotel at your expense.
Right. Yeah.
You have to pay to stay in the hotel, and you can't leave the hotel. And it's like, well, how do you get food if you can't leave the hotel? And you have to pay the nightly rate at the hotel, which is completely insane, they said. And you can't leave the hotel for 14 days or something. But you can drive across that border with no issues.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
What? What? I mean, really?
Sadly,
But I guess that's what they do down at the bottom of Texas. They fly into Mexico from somewhere else and then just walk across the river or walk across the dam.
Oh, that was something that would have just made you lose your mind. They were talking about Jen Psaki, I think, earlier this week, where
She's an idiot.
Well, they're having people cross the border, and of course, one of the interviewers at the White House press release thing was saying, well, are you vaccinated? Like, are you requiring vaccine cards when people cross the border? And then are you quarantining folks, or are you letting them go through? And of course, none of this is happening. They're just sending them on. They're not checking them.
Right.
Like if they're asymptomatic or they're not showing any signs of anything, they're just like, cool, get out of my face, because they're so
Get on this bus and we're going to send you somewhere out into the United States. Yes. She's such a liar. She's such a liar. And they've called her on it a couple of times. Circle back, Peppermint Patty, because you're such a liar. You can't even keep your own lie straight. But no, they're not testing any of them. They're not checking any of them. They're not vaccinating any of them. They don't make them wear a mask, and they give them a stipend. They give them money, put them on a transport bus, and send them out in somewhere in the United States. They could be in your city.
Well, bring them on. I'm vaccinated. I'm good.
Okay.
I'll be your amigo.
Okay. All right.
Well, just like we talked about, man, I gotta find me my my little senorita and just have a bunch of Enrique's and Jesus's and Jorge's and all them, so that's the goal, because I'll be tripping,
Okay. All right.
But I don't know, that's it's something else, and I think one of the things that gets to people is that stuff's just in your face all the time.
Yeah.
But that's one of the problems, right? Is that's very taxing, and I don't think it's that healthy, right? To just
it gets old really quick. I've turned off a whole lot of news feeds because it gets old really quick. The same shit every day. Now they're interviewing the generals.
Yeah, General Milley and all them.
Yeah, they're interviewing those guys, and they're lying. And Biden's a liar, and the generals are lying. And it's amazing. And they just go on like everything's okay. Nothing's doing about it. Well, General, I'd like to ask you. And he's not going to tell you. He's not going to tell you. And if he tells you something, it's probably not the truth, because they're not going to
handle the truth. I got to cut that in there.
Yeah. It's like
good man, but
yeah. I mean, it's ridiculous. People are getting away with this stuff and nobody's doing anything about it.
Well, it's a dog.
Well, wait till the 2022 election and we'll put some different people in. Ooh, okay. God bless you. Better get on that.
Well,
be here before you know it.
It's a dog and pony show, I think, to a degree, where they have to put on the show, because
right.
They have to go through the motions, but just like we've talked about before, why would anybody want to upset any apple carts ever? Because
we don't have to answer to the people. That's what they said. We're in the military. We don't answer to civilians.
Ah, yeah, there you go.
Excuse me?
but they have to listen to their commander in chief if they put out a thing. So when Milley was talking to China and saying, no, he's all good, and Trump's over there trying to posture because they're about to take over Taiwan. That seems seems a little crazy to me, but
no, it's okay. Slow Joe goes, well, I think I'll take a nap. Yeah, okay.
Hey, man, there ain't nothing wrong with a nap.
No, not at all. Not at all.
There was something where Nancy Pelosi today, or I saw it today. They said
she needs to take a nap.
We're putting in, Obama's plan, which, of course, then it cuts to Obama being interviewed by, I believe, Colbert, and he said, if people ask me if I would do a third term, but if I could sit in a room somewhere and just talk into somebody's ear and them be the face of it all, and of course then it cuts to Biden who's stumbling down the flight of stairs and all that stuff. Right. And that stuff was just incredible. But I mean, now understand this, people are going to slip up. People are old. People are dumb. So they're going to say just dumb stuff.
Easy now. Easy.
I didn't say anything towards anybody specifically. So if you took offense to that, that's your own insecurities there, bud. There you go. But yeah, it was just like that's the kind of stuff. Of course, it's humorous because it gets your mind a little bit, like it grasps your attention, saying, "Oh, this is starting to add up a little bit."
Who do they think is running all this? All of Obama's people are still in there, man. The ones that Trump didn't get rid of. He's still pulling the strings. He never moved out of D.C., man.
Well, I mean.
Okay. All right. Check it out. All their stuff's starting to collapse on them now. And it's really pretty funny that people are starting to realize it was all bullshit. Trump's collusion with Russia and all this kind of shit, the FBI and Operation Hurricane and all that stuff. It's all bullshit. Now people are starting to end up in front of a judge and all that kind of shit. And it's like, wait a minute, man. You told me I wouldn't have to be. I wouldn't be in trouble if I lied.
That's just kind of how that goes. But
that's DC, baby. It's DC.
Hey, that is DC, man. I mean,
yeah, no doubt.
Won't talk about it, won't be about it. So
that's right. That's exactly right.
Is there any other points or of contention or topics you want to talk about there, good sir?
Nothing that I can bring to the forefront this time.
Well, I see your camo and your Punisher hat and stuff. You came here to battle a little bit, but
I might.
Didn't do too much battling. Maybe. Okay, never mind. All right, arms up. There you go. Doing the winning pose like you won something and didn't even play. So that's about how that is. But
I'm still alive. That's hey, I'm glad to be alive.
We
man.
did. You beat the evening and you're here, and we really appreciate it. And thank you all so much for watching the Jay and Thomas podcast here. It's always an honor and a pleasure. And thank you to our 23 subscribers, our lovelies out there as they call them. And smash the like, tickle the bell, make sure you don't miss any notifications and whatnot when new videos come out. If you want to be a part of the Jay and Thomas podcast here, leave us a comment down below or get in touch with one of us, and we'll be more than happy to have you on, get you into the proverbial fray there, and we'll catch you in the next episode.
See you. Life in general.